We're live from New Delhi. You're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Lipakshi Khurana, coming up in the next 30 minutes. India's landmark criminal laws to replace British-era acts to be tabled in Upper House of Parliament today. India braces up for COVID-19 subvariant JN1 surge. 300 new active cases reported in Kerala today. Total 2,669 active cases of COVID-19 in India. Talks between Hamas and Egyptian negotiators end without results in Cairo. UN vote on Gaza aid further delayed. On to details now. Indian Parliament reconvened for the 14th day of the ongoing winter session today. India's Home Minister Amit Shah will move the 3 revised criminal laws for consideration and passing in the upper house. These bills, the Bharatiya Nyaya Second Samhita 2023, the Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Second Samhita 2023 and the Bharatiya Sakshya Second Bill 2023 were passed by Lok Sabha on December 20th, 2023. 3 bills replaced the Indian Penal Code of 1860, the Code of Criminal Procedure of 1973 and Indian Evidence Act of 1872. Besides, Telecom Minister Ashwini Vaishnaw will move the Telecommunications Bill 2023 for consideration and passing. The bill was passed by the lower house on Wednesday. Also, India's Law and Justice Minister Arjun Ram Meghwal will today move the Chief Election Commissioner and other election commissioners' appointment condition of service and term of office Bill 2023 in the lower house of Parliament for consideration and passing. Besides, Information and Broadcasting Minister Anurag Singh Thakur will move the Press and Registration of Periodicals Bill 2023 for consideration and passing. The bill provides for easing the process of registration of newspapers, journals and books. Rajya Sabha, that is Upper House of Parliament, has already passed these 2 bills. And now an update on the Indian Parliament security breach probe. Police custody of the 2 people and their associates who entered the Parliament end today, due to which the police will seek for further custody of the accused from the court on Thursday. Earlier, Patiala House Court had sent all 4 accused to police custody for 7 days. Moving on, spread of JN1, a subvariant of SARS-CoV-9, the virus that caused COVID-19 in the first place, is becoming a cause of concern. Health Minister Mansukh Mandavia conducted a review of health facilities nationwide, emphasizing the importance of staying alert to emerging strains of the coronavirus. The government has also issued a directive to states and union territories, urging them to stay vigilant as COVID-19 cases rise, coupled with the emergence of the JN1 variant. Centres asked the states to conduct more and more RT-PCR tests. Besides, it has also asked government to create awareness on masking up and ensuring social distancing, as there should be no laxity in our preparedness. The Indian Council of Medical Research is working on genome sequencing of the new JN1 variant of SARS-CoV-2. Meanwhile, the southern Indian state of Kerala reported 300 new active cases of COVID-19 and 3 deaths on December 20th. As per the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, the total number of active cases of COVID-19 in the country stands at 2,669. And as heavy rains continued to lash parts of the southern Indian state of Tamil Nadu, various agencies stepped in for rescue and assistance work in the wake of the devastating impact caused due to heavy rainfall. The Indian Army, Navy, Air Force, Coast Guard and National Disaster Response Force are working in tandem to rescue and relief work at various locations in the state. The Indian Army rescues 3 passengers from a car stuck in floodwaters, and Indian Air Force helicopters conducted relief operations, airdropping over 10 tons of essential supplies. Sarang, the Indian Air Force's helicopter air display team, airdropped food and essentials onto the terraces of homes submerged in the flood waters. Also, Indian Coast Guard continued to deploy its assets, including 3 aircraft and 8 independent disaster relief teams, to provide relief to stranded citizens affected by widespread floods. And the southern Indian state of Kerala reported 300 new active cases of COVID-19 and 3 deaths on December 20th. For more, DD India correspondent Sam Kadaminata joins us from Kerala. Well, Sam, what is the recent update on the COVID situation in Kerala?
According to the latest reports from the Union Health Ministry, the daily number of COVID patients in Kerala has exceeded 300. 3 deaths due to the COVID have been reported in the last 24 hours in the state. There are currently 2,341 COVID patients in the state. The COVID figures coming out now are in such a way as to cause a serious concern in the state. In the last 24 hours, 358 people have been diagnosed with COVID-19 in the country. It is a matter of concern that 300 cases are from Kerala. The State Health Department explains that the increase in number of COVID patients being reported from Kerala is due to the more number of samples being tested in Kerala, and everyone who shows symptoms are undergoing COVID test. The Health Minister Veena George attended the review meeting yesterday called by the Union Health Minister. In that meeting, the Health Minister informed that the situation in Kerala is under control. Kerala Health Minister Veena George said that there is no need to worry even though the cases of COVID are increasing in the state. State Health Department had taken measures to manage the present situation. Guidelines were also issued. The State Medical Officers Conference was also instructed to take action. State Health Department and State Health Education Department is ready to handle any alarming, unforeseen situation.
All right, Sam, as you said that measures are being taken to put it under control. So what is the reason behind the surge in number there?
Meanwhile, the opposition leader V.D. Satish accused the government of trying to cover up the spike in COVID cases, citing reports by the Ministry of Health. He said 85% of the cases in the country had been reported from Kerala. The government is purposely hiding the real count and the situation only because of the Nava Kerala Sadhas. All 21 ministers, including Chief Minister and Health Minister, traveling all over the 140 assembly constituencies, trying to showcase the achievements of the state government in their tenure. There are 140 public meetings arranged and huge gathering of party activists is being seen. Opposition leader also mentioned that the strict restriction and imposition will be taken by state only after the valedictory function of Nava Kerala Sadhas happening on December 25th. The alarming rates will be shown to the public only after that. He also stated that the ruling party CPIM is trying to build up the public imagery before the Lok Sabha election and is gambling with people's lives in their hands for their benefits. BJP State President K. Surendran asked the government to take immediate measures before people start panicking.
All right. Thank you so much for that information, Sam. And moving on now, recent statistics indicate that more than 558 million people worldwide natively speak in Hindi. In an attempt to encourage usage of the language in the northeastern region, Indian Brahmaputra Cracker and Polymer Limited organized the 73rd meeting of Town Official Language Implementation Committee in Dibrugarh, Assam.
पूर्वोत्तर क्षेत्र में आजकल हिंदी की पूरी लहर आ गई है। पूरे स्कूलों में, महाविद्यालयों में, विश्वविद्यालयों में हिंदी का पठन पाठन हो रहा है। यहाँ की जो आम जनता वो हिंदी में वार्तालाप करती है। यहाँ पर लिंक लैंग्वेज के रूप में स्थानीय भाषा के बाद अगर किसी भाषा का स्थान आता है तो हिंदी का ही आता है।
Well, in India, the number of space startups have gone up from just 1 in 2014 to 189 in 2023 as per the Startup India portal. The investment in Indian space startups has also increased to $124.7 million in 2023. India's Union Minister of State, Science and Technology, Dr. Jitendra Singh, informs the Indian Parliament that the current size of the Indian space economy is estimated around $8.4 billion, and with the implementation of the Indian Space Policy 2023, it is expected to be $44 billion by 2033. And now let's look into the major developments in Pakistan, where hundreds of Baloch protesters marched towards Islamabad against the alleged Baloch genocide and enforced disappearances. Protesters were stopped by the authorities, and as many as about 20 Baloch activists were also arrested. Pakistan police used water cannon to disperse the protesters. And India has shown concern towards the deteriorating humanitarian situation in its neighboring country, Afghanistan. Permanent representative of India to the United Nations, Ruchira Kamboj, during a UN Security Council briefing on Wednesday, reiterated India's unwavering support to the people of Afghanistan.
Humanitarian assistance to the people of Afghanistan needs to be prioritized, given the distressing humanitarian situation in the country. India has delivered material humanitarian assistance to Afghanistan and has also continued its educational scholarships for the Afghan students. We have also partnered with various UN agencies, including the UN World Food Programme and the United Nations Office of Drugs and Crime, in their humanitarian efforts. Let me state that India reaffirms its unwavering commitment to the people of Afghanistan.
And now let's take a look at other stories making news today. A thick layer of fog engulfed the Indian capital city of Delhi along with a cold wave on Thursday. The temperature stands at 7 degrees Celsius in the early morning. Despite the cold weather, individuals were spotted cycling and jogging in the city. Dense fog in isolated pockets very likely over the region for the next 4 days. With the 2024 national elections months away in India, Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Namo app launches Janman survey to gauge the popular mood on a variety of issues, including people's views about the performance of his government and their local MP. The survey seeks the people's response on various aspects of governance and leadership, and its questions including both central level development and specifics related to the user's constituency. 2 idols of Lord Sri Ram made of glass fibre have been sent to northern India, city of Ayodhya, by a sculptor of West Bengal. Muhammad Jamaluddin was assisted by his son in making 2 idols of about 15 to 16 feet height. These 2 idols reached Ram Temple in Ayodhya ahead of the inauguration ceremony. A 108 feet long incense stick is being prepared in Indian state of Gujarat. It will be sent to Lord Ram Temple in Ayodhya ahead of the temple's opening ceremony to be held on January 22nd. The preparations in Ayodhya are in full swing. Various infrastructure projects are underway in the city as the place is expected to host lakhs of pilgrims in the coming months after the temple is inaugurated. For the Christmas celebrations in Indian state of Karnataka, India's tallest Christmas tree has been set up, towering at an impressive height of 100 feet. The colossal tree stands as the centerpiece at Bengaluru's Phoenix Mall of Asia. The colossal tree is a beacon of holiday cheer, adorned with enchanting decorations and featuring lively elves and Santa Claus spreading joy in the surrounding area. And still to come on this edition of DD India Live. The largest ever prisoner swap done between Venezuela and US. US, South Korea, Japan call on North Korea to engage in dialogue without preconditions. Pyongyang warns of nuclear attack. And we'll show you how Paris is adorned with Christmas lights and decorations as the holiday season approaches.
India that invents. India that innovates. India that excites. India that invites. Land of possibility. Teeming with opportunities. Watch India Ideas each Thursday, 8 p.m. only on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Lipakshi Khurana, and moving on. Update now on Israel-Hamas conflict. As Israeli troops continue their ground operations in Gaza, the army has discovered a network of tunnels running deep beneath central Gaza city. As per the military, the tunnel was found on the properties registered under the name of a senior Hamas leader. The tunnels were found when soldiers secured a central area of the city in recent days, accessed by spiral staircases and an elevator up to 20 meters below ground. The tunnels were facilitated with electricity, plumbing, surveillance cameras and heavy blast doors. Moreover, Israel has also accused Hamas of deliberately locating tunnels and other military infrastructure among civilians in order to use them as human shields.
As the Israeli army was operating in the area of Hamas leaders in the heart of Gaza city, where the political and military leadership of Hamas is situated, we uncovered an area that served as a base for terror that were located in civilian buildings. With the operation of ground forces and based on intelligence we received under the area of leadership, we uncovered a branch network of strategic underground bases.
And there's been another delay in a Security Council vote for a humanitarian pause in Gaza. This latest delay comes at the request of the United States, which says it needs more time to consult. Jody Jacobs reports from the United Nations in New York.
It's been delay after delay. The initial vote on this current legally binding Security Council resolution was first scheduled for Monday, postponed to Tuesday, delayed to Wednesday, and now once again rescheduled. On Wednesday, the Council held close consultations to continue the negotiations, and these were followed by the announcement of yet another postponement to Thursday. Diplomats here in New York say there's growing frustration with the United States' repeated requests for delays. A major sticking point in this new text is the question of whether the United Nations should take over from Israel to inspect humanitarian shipments going into Gaza, something which the organization ordinarily does in other countries. Israel, we are told, wants the United States to reject this, as it would effectively leave it with no role in screening the shipments. But the UAE's ambassador to the UN, Lana Nasabeh, whose country tabled the resolution, told reporters on Wednesday they've been working long hours and believes giving it another go for additional diplomacy could yield positive results. She says she remains optimistic an agreement will be reached. Earlier this month, the US vetoed a similar Security Council resolution backed by almost all other council members. And while the intense political negotiations continue, the head of the UN's Children's Fund, UNICEF, has warned on Wednesday that there's barely a drop of safe water to drink in Gaza. Anwar reports now more than 20,000 people have been killed since the start of the war on October 7th. Jody Jacobs at the United Nations reporting for DD India.
Well, relentless efforts are being made to resume ceasefire in the conflict-inflicted Gaza Strip. The leader of Hamas visited Egypt on Wednesday for an intensive talks on a new ceasefire, but the meeting ended without results. As per a Palestinian official, Egypt has offered a proposal for another humanitarian truce, but the idea of a temporary solution was rejected by Hamas. According to the reports, Egyptians are still optimistic about the possibility of a breakthrough in the coming days, but they're convinced that the situation is difficult and the negotiations will be difficult and long. And the United States have joined hands with Israel to combat Houthi in the Red Sea region. Israeli government on Wednesday welcomed the coalition of 10 navies that was formed to repel the Houthi threats. The US-led security initiative will see Washington and 10 other, mostly NATO countries, patrol the Red Sea to deter and respond to future Houthi attacks that have so far led to major global shipping lines rerouting around Africa instead. And shifting focus now, the top diplomats of the United States, South Korea and Japan on Wednesday condemned North Korea's recent ballistic missiles launches. In a joint statement, the three countries urged Pyongyang to engage in substantive dialogue without preconditions. As per the statement, the United States, Japan and South Korea stand together in opposition to the North Korea's continued development of its unlawful weapons of mass destruction and ballistic missile programs. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, Japanese Foreign Minister Yoko Kamikawa and South Korea's Foreign Minister Park Jin met. Meanwhile, the United States flew long-range bombers for joint drills with the South Korea and Japan on Wednesday. The drill, aimed at strengthening countries' joint response, comes days after the North performed its first ICBM test in 5 months. The exercise involved B-1B bombers and South Korean and Japanese fighter jets. It said that as of now, the U.S. bomber has been temporarily deployed near and over the Korean peninsula this year, while the B-1B is capable of carrying a large conventional weapons payload. And amidst this development, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has said Pyongyang would not hesitate with a nuclear attack when an enemy provokes it with nuclear weapons. He said, and I quote, "The resolute military activity conducted by the company this time was a clear explanation of the offensive counteraction mode and the evolution of the nuclear strategy and doctrine of the DPRK not to hesitate even a nuclear attack when the enemy provokes it with nukes," unquote. Kim made the remark as he met with soldiers under the military's Missile Bureau over its recent launching drill of an intercontinental ballistic missile. Well, Venezuela has freed 10 U.S. citizens as part of a prisoner swap with the United States. It's the largest ever prisoner swap between the two governments. Correspondent Maritri Mina has more details.
House confirmed the release of 10 U.S. citizens, 6 of them designated as wrongfully detained by the State Department. The swap took place in a third country. Before leaving Venezuela, all of the prisoners went through a medical examination. Among the Americans released, 2 former members of the U.S. Special Forces, Aaron Berry and Luke Denman, who were sentenced to 20 years in jail after participating in a failed attempt to overthrow President Nicolás Maduro. This swap comes after the U.S. eased oil sanctions on Venezuela in October. It's the result of many months of secret talks between Venezuelan and U.S. officials. The White House says this is a positive step forward. The current negotiations aim to secure competitive and democratic presidential elections in Venezuela in 2024. Returning to Venezuela is Colombian businessman Alex Saab, who was arrested in 2020 and accused of money laundering. Saab was facing criminal prosecution in a Florida court. Caracas celebrated the return of Saab to Venezuelan soil, saying he was kidnapped by the U.S. On Wednesday, he was welcomed by President Maduro at Venezuela's presidential palace. The Venezuelan government also freed about 24 individuals, some of them linked to the opposition. In Caracas, Maritrini Mena reporting for DD India.
And Pakistan's former Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif praised India during his address to the party cadre on Wednesday. Sharif said India has reached the moon, but Pakistan has still not risen from the ground. Nawaz Sharif recently addressed a party meeting in Lahore via video link from London, where he expressed his concerns about Pakistan's economic crisis. As he's warming up for his election pitch, he made several references to India and said neither India nor US were responsible for the economic condition Pakistan has been facing. And now let's take a look at other stories making news around the world. Junior doctors in England are starting their largest strike yet, with the British Medical Association announcing a 3-day strike. The strike is a result of a long-running dispute over pay, with doctors seeking a 35% improvement to cover inflation. Hospitals warn the strike could threaten emergency care provision during the busy Christmas week. Moscow's Red Square hosts a festive market with decorations and ice skating rinks, while Christmas market under a refurbished former stock exchange features a Christmas tree and attracts tourists annually. New Year's Day is Russia's main holiday. In Brussels, Christmas markets celebrated the holidays with waffles and beverages located under this refurbished former stock exchange. The main attraction was the Christmas tree in the Grand Place Central Square, lined with the Baroque guild halls and City Hall. The market attracts tourists each year with a festive sound and light display. Paris is adorned with Christmas lights and decorations as the holiday season approaches, preparing for 2024. The City of Lights, from the Eiffel Tower to the Champs-Élysées, captivates residents and tourists with festive illumination on its famous avenues and shop windows. Bogota streets are filled with Christmas cheer as the Colombian capital prepares for the holiday season. A steam train decorated with festival lights featuring Santa Claus and elves entertains adults and children. The city's botanical garden also hosts a night show featuring LED-lit, eco-friendly animal figures.
Al Jardín Botánico de Bogotá.
And on to sports now. India will be looking to get back to winning ways and seal the three-match series in their favour with a comfortable victory at the Bulletins Park Stadium in Pal. India had comprehensively beaten the Proteas in the first ODI thanks to the heroics of Arshdeep Singh and Avesh Khan, who helped restrict the host to a score of 117, which India managed to chase down easily in just under 17 overs. In the second ODI, South Africa pulled level in the three-match ODI series against India with an 8-wicket win at the St. George's Oval in its Gaberha on Tuesday. Going on to the third ODI, India will look to win the match to clinch the series. Well, that's all for this edition of DD India Live. Well, let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter, and Instagram. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Nipakshi Khurana from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.